There we go. Okay, to the orientation. As I mentioned, we're recording the session. Welcome to all of you. I'm joined here today by my colleague, Natasha Lane. Many of you may have communicated with her as well. So we are here to just welcome you to Global Giving, and that's what we look like. We're going to be going over 4 quick things in the next hour. Feel free to ask any questions. Natasha is monitoring the chat, and she'll answer any questions that come in there, but I'll pause occasionally as well to get some of those questions. So we're going to be doing a quick recap of the accelerator, a quick Global Giving 101. So a lot of you are now experts in how Global Giving runs after going through the accelerator, but we'll go over a few basic things. We'll go over some campaigns and training opportunities, and then take questions and feedback. So here we go. The 2018 September Accelerator. You guys should be so proud of everything that you accomplished. We had organizations from all over the world participating. India, Mexico, Australia, and more. You can see here on this map where some of you all came from. The accelerator ran for 23 days. It had almost 700 participants, almost 9,000 donors, 95 graduates, and you represented 90 countries. That is amazing. You all just completed a really difficult task, and you should be so proud of what you accomplished. In addition to raising a bunch of money for the amazing work you're doing, you are such a supportive group, working really together to create an amazing community. From Peter, who gave great tips on his organization's use of private emails to get more donors and donations. They actually raised half of their $5,000 goal after sending out emails to their contact. Great job. Then we have Patrice still supporting other accelerator participants after she graduated. I love the team spirit. And Deanna, who gave a shout out to the graduates. So thank you for not only doing a great job for yourselves, but really to help build this greater Global Giving community as well. Your graduate benefits plus bonus prizes. So first, all you graduates will get a press release. Here's an example of the press release. Yours will be featuring all of the graduates. It's coming later this week, Thursday or Friday. Keep an eye out. We encourage you to promote this. Like we said, you have accomplished a great task, and you should be proud. So, you know, send this out on your Twitter feed, on Facebook, to your contacts. You should be really proud of all that you accomplished. We also have the Global Giving Accelerator Media Toolkit. You can find the press release here. When it comes out, you can also see your graduate badge and some sample tweets that you can send out, as well as your certificate. Homepage time. If you are one of the 22 organizations who won homepage time, you should receive an email from Natasha this week with further instructions. Again, 22 of you raised more than $10,000 from 60 unique donors. That is amazing. If you're one of the ones that didn't this time, don't worry. We offer homepage time as a prize in campaigns throughout the year, so this won't be your only opportunity. We also, throughout the year, feature pretty much all of the projects on our site. At some point, they rotate through and change every hour unless you specifically want a prize to be featured on the homepage. So keep an eye out for that. 31 organizations raised more than $7,500 from 50 unique donors, and those 31 are going to be featured on our social media accounts. If your organization is one of those 31, expect your post to go up between now and the end of November. We'll tag you so you can see it and do further promotion. Again, if you didn't earn a social media share this time around, there's plenty more opportunities now that you are part of the greater Global Giving community. And every accelerator, we feature an organization that can serve as an inspiring success story for future participants. Pitch us by sending us an email to projecthelp@globalgiving.org with the subject link Accelerator Spotlight. We'll respond and let you know if we're going to spotlight you. If you want to check out some of the organizations we've highlighted through this content and past accelerators, you can go to the Learn section of our website and click on Accelerator Success Stories to see those. Any questions? I'll pause here. Natasha, anything that came in through the chat that we should answer?
Yeah, so we do have a Barbara, and she's asking about their project for the accelerator. So she's wondering, should we start a new project since the accelerator is over and we've graduated, or should we end our accelerator project? Should we start a new project since the accelerator has ended, or should we continue on with the project we started during our accelerator?
Great question. So it really is up to you. Oops, and our thing is moving forward, so we'll just leave it there. It really is up to you what you want to do and what makes the most sense for your organization. So if the project you posted on the accelerator can use additional funding, I would recommend leaving it up there. You have created a great base of donors that you have in your site now, and that means that when you send project reports, those donors will get your updates. If you start a totally new project, you're starting again from scratch with 0 donors to that project, and so if you send out reports, they're not going to get those. So like I said, if your project can receive additional funds, I would recommend continuing to fundraise for it. If you have a totally new project, you can do that. You can also now, as a graduate or as a qualifier, you can add more than one project. So you're welcome to keep your accelerator project up and then add an additional project as well. Great. Any other questions?
Nope, we're good for now.
Great. Well, let's see. It says, can you repeat what email to send the pitch to? What's the subject line? Yeah, in case other people want to know, projecthelp@globalgiving.org. That's your go-to question for pretty much anything you need. We have a comment here. I believe you have to keep the project open in order to receive recurring donations for the year. That is correct. Great point that I didn't mention. If you have recurring donations to a project, the easiest thing is to keep that project open so those recurring donations stay to that project. Great. All right, so our technology is moving forward a little bit faster than it should be. Okay, quick Global Giving 101. I want to quickly go over our commitment to you. So we are so excited that you're part of our community, and we've made a couple commitments from us to you now that we're in this together. The first is that we treat you as a partner. We want Global Giving to be part of your team, not just a platform. That means that we seek your ideas, we strive to understand your challenges, break down barriers to your success, and act promptly, enthusiastically, and professionally every time we communicate with you. In summary, we want to wow you. Second is that we listen and respond to your feedback. So we work for you. Our goal is to create services and products that make your earth-changing job easier. Equipped with your ideas, observations, and reactions, we promise to continually examine what works for the Global Giving community and what fails, and to always be open to changing course as needed. Third, we want to increase your impact. We put your needs first. We exist to connect you to valuable training, support, and peers around the world, which enables you to be a more effective fundraiser, marketer, manager, ultimately increasing your ability to change the world. Fourth, we recognize the value that you bring to our community and to yours. We believe in you. We know that you know the needs better than anyone else, and we commit to beginning every interaction with trust. And finally, we want to work with you to transform the aid and philanthropy system. We'll increase your visibility, help build donor trust, and advocate on your behalf among business leaders, policymakers, government funders, and other influencers so you can access the resources and power you need to be effective. So that's our commitment to you. We hope that you do see Global Giving as not just a donation processor, but really as part of your team. Now that you are all permanent partners of the Global Giving community, you have Access to our full partner benefits. We offer our partners a suite of donor management, communication, and fundraising tools, as well as fundraising campaigns. We've worked hard to establish a reputation that's designed to help benefit our nonprofit partners. So as you know, because you've been through the process, we vet and review all organizations on our website so that donors and companies can be confident giving, and reputation has helped a lot to help our nonprofit partners attract donations outside of GlobalGiving as well. All right, so what to do next? For projects, like I mentioned, you can now post as many projects as you want. Remember, you do have to report on every project that you submit, so you probably don't want to submit too many, but you're not limited to just one project anymore. All projects are evaluated by our program team, and as a reminder, once you submit a project, it does take 1 to 3 business days to make sure that we review those. When you post your project, make sure that it's different enough from your existing project that you're not competing with yourself. So if you build schools in 3 different countries, you know, posting 2 projects for 2 schools in the same country probably is not super smart because you're competing against donors with each other. But if you posted a project for a school in Kenya and one in Uganda, that would be fine because they're different enough that you're attracting different donors. We also have micro projects, and those, now that you are permanent partners, you have access to those. Leaders and superstars can create micro projects on our site. These are small projects. They're only active for 90 days. They are between $250 and $10,000, and they're to fundraise for a specific individual or activity. So that's really important. This is not intended to just be a project that doesn't cost that much, but really something specific. So these projects, micro projects, do get a bump in the project ranking, and they're tied to an existing larger project. So for example, if we used the example of the school in Uganda, you might have a specific micro project tied to that larger project that is to fund a specific student's scholarship, or to fund 10 new desks for a classroom, or something that's very specific that is tied to your larger overall fundraising for the school. Similarly, you might have a larger project related to women's skills creation, and you might have a smaller micro project that's tied to purchasing 10 computers. So it's something that is very specific, tied to a larger goal that you have. Again, only leaders and superstars have access to this benefit on GlobalGiving, and we'll talk more about what that means shortly. Any questions, burning questions that have come through yet about that?
So we did have Nancy ask again about the success story. So just to clarify that, guys, if you want to be an accelerator spotlight, you can send us an email at projecthelp@globalgiving.org. Use the subject line accelerator spotlight, and all you have to do is send in a request. You don't have to actually send in your actual story. If we decide to select you, we'll respond to your email and let you know. Thank you.
Great. All right. So we'll move on now to projects. Again, you all have added at least one project because you were in the accelerator. You click on that same project tab to add a new project. Again, create project, you select your project type, your organization, and your title. To create a micro project, you simply click on micro project there, and then create project. This is an example of a great project page. There's a donation amount under $30. That's really important to always include something that helps smaller dollar donors feel like they can make an impact. The title is very specific. You know just from reading it what, where it is, what it's doing, who it's helping, and how many. The descriptions are short donor options are short and easy to understand, and they have a high quality video, which donors love. Project reports. This is really important. Now that you're done with the accelerator, just a reminder that every project does require a short narrative report every 3 months for every project. If we don't get a report from you, we will close the project and donors will no longer be able to give to your organization. So you will get lots of email reminders that these are due, but don't forget, they're super important. These are important not just for us, so we do read every report that comes in, but they're also emailed to all of your donors. So this is a great way to keep in touch very easily with anyone who's donated to your project and to keep them updated on what's going on. Again, these are not, they don't have to be long, they don't have to be financial reports. It's simply giving donors an update about what's happening. These, again, should not be you asking for money. They're not fundraising emails. They're really updates. Anything you can do to share the story of the impact that you're having and that the donor's donation is having will go a long way. So, yeah, building donor trust and helping keep your community of donors around. This is what the dashboard looks like. All of you, I'm sure, have been here before. So to submit a report, click on the Reports tab, and then click on that. Whoa, what is that? We're having some technical difficulties. Just 1 second. Okay, so click on Add a Report up in the top right, that orange button. Then write the title or subject of your report, the project that it goes to, and click Create Report. Again, these should all be updates on what's happening. We have had a lot of requests over the years that people want to also have the opportunity to send fundraising emails. So we do allow this. Twice a year, you can send a fundraising appeal. This is great for right before a bonus day or a matching campaign. These should always contain a call for action, and these are emailed to every donor who's ever given to a project in your organization ever. The way to do that is to click on that Communications tab, then click on Create a Project Appeal. Again, those also have to be reviewed by our staff, so make sure to get those in early if you want them sent on a specific date, and that can happen twice a year. So I'm going to pause quickly. Are there any questions related to what I've talked about that have come in?
So we do have a question from a Miss Susan, and she's asking about donations and donors, and she's saying, is there any way to find out who the anonymous donors are in our donations manager?
There is unfortunately not. That means that a donor has told us they want to remain anonymous to you. There is, however, the opportunity for you to thank those donors most of the time. So if you, in your donor manager, you scroll over where it says anonymous and you have a pop-up that says thank this donor, you can do that. I'll get into thank you notes later. Any related questions of anything I talked about? Okay, cool. Great. Next, I think there were some questions that came in earlier about disbursements, everyone's favorite topic. As a reminder, GlobalGiving disperses donations at the end of each month after a donation is made. So for instance, donations that are given in September, so between September 1st and 30th, are reconciled and are sent to you at the end of October. Donations, again, between October 1st and 31st are reconciled and sent at the end of November. For organizations outside the U.S., we wait until $250 net is raised to make sure that you're getting the maximum of your rate. That's a request we've had from a lot of our partners so that they don't lose too much through their own bank fees. So that happens every month. We disperse to the a bank account that you told us that you would like to receive it in when you signed up for Global Giving. We also have a disbursement manager where you can check all of this stuff that's happening. It's right there in your dashboard. You can see when we've made a disbursement, you can see the date it was sent, the donations that it covers through, the method that it was sent, checks, ACH, execute, and what the memo for that is. You can also download your disbursement report. If you scroll down, that's a way to see in that disbursement report, if you have more than one project, you'll see the breakdown there of how much should go to each project. Great. Any questions about disbursements?
So we have a few questions actually. So we have one from Amber, and she's saying, hello, I was wondering how checks sent into Global Giving are reflected in our donations log. Thank you.
Those are reflected the same way as any donation does. It will specify that it's a check, but we enter those a few times a week, the checks that come in for that week. So as soon as we receive them, as soon as they're entered, they'll be reflected in your donation manager, and it will say the name of the person and that it's a check. Occasionally and often we don't have a way for you to send an email thank you note to them, because if we don't have an email address for them, if they sent in a check, we won't be able to add that information. But if we do receive that information, it will be there.
That's it for now.
Great. All right. So GG Rewards we mentioned, hopefully you are a little familiar with it already. This is a way for us to reward you all for the amazing work that you're doing, and for us to have a clear way to reward organizations that are prioritizing learning within their organization. So GG Rewards is similar to a frequent flyer program, if you're familiar with something like that. Organizations that are part of Global Giving can earn points and become a partner, a leader, or a superstar. It was created to reward our nonprofit partners for engagement and effectiveness. As I mentioned, organizations earn points for different activities, and those points expire on an annual, yearly basis. The more points you have, the higher your status. The higher your status, the more opportunities and exposure you get to donors through the Global Giving site. This is your GG Rewards dashboard. It's right there in your main dashboard. You can see it'll say what your status is, how many points you have, and you can click on anything in that area to in order to drill down into what your points are. Here's a quick look at the GG Rewards dashboard. As you can see, it's broken up into two sections, effectiveness and engagement. We take a total of the points you earn in both of those categories to determine your reward status. And you can see that each status has a certain number of points associated with it. Let's explore both categories. So GG Rewards allows Global Giving to reward partners that are active and engaged on the platform. That is, organizations that report regularly, that drive donations through matching campaigns, that participate in contests, and that contribute to things like our Leadership Council. Here's a quick look at how the engagement section on GG Rewards is broken down. Again, we're looking at things like your fundraising activity, your reporting activity, etc., to see how you're specifically interacting with the Global Giving platform. The more you engage on Global Giving through reporting on time, sending thank you notes, engaging recurring donors, and more, the more engagement points you earn on Global Giving. This is the second aspect of GG Rewards, and that's around effectiveness. At Global Giving, our hypothesis is that organizations that are listening, acting, and learning are more effective and improving their effectiveness and their impact at a faster rate. So if you're listening to your peers, beneficiaries, experts, and the community in which you work, acting by trying new things, by experimenting, by being open to failure and learning from failure, if you're learning by using data, evolving as an organization, etc., we want to reward those activities, and that's where the effectiveness category comes in. we want to drive donations to organizations committed to effectiveness and to learning, and that is what is reflected here. You can earn points by completing what we call a learning cycle. So again, as much as possible, we try to give you points, pull in points automatically. So if you listen to a webinar, you will automatically get points. But you'll get even more points if you go into the system and actually write a sentence or two and tell us what you learned by listening to that webinar and what you're trying that's new. We have a few suggested effectiveness cycles here. So these are tools that we suggest that you use. You can use many other types of tools or do many other learning activities as well. The DIY toolkit, for example, this is the second one on this list. It was developed by a group in the UK called Nesta. They surveyed nonprofits and identified the top tools used by nonprofits to increase effectiveness, and they put together this toolkit with the top 30 tools. So that's one where if you're thinking about social innovation and how to improve your organization, using one of those tools will give you points in our system. Similarly, at the bottom, we have a create your own cycle. It's at the very bottom. If you're on the page, you can scroll down, and that is opportunity for you to tell us what you're doing to learn. You can earn up to 12 effectiveness points if you went to a conference that was useful, if you did a survey of your community that you work in and you're using that feedback to improve things. If you did your own professional development course, you can simply go in here, tell us what you learned, and earn 12 points that way. Are there any questions about the GG Rewards program?
No, we don't have any questions about the GG Rewards, so we're good.
Great. So moving on to a cool page that a lot of people don't know about, and that's our Global Giving Analytics page. You can see here at the top of the dashboard, you can see some data about your organization. So you can look at how much you've raised, how much was driven by Global Giving, and how much was raised in total. So this is a question we get a lot from donors. What do we mean by driven by Global Giving? So that means funds that we know came to your organization specifically because of your relationship with Global Giving. So that's either a grant from a Global Giving corporate partner, matching funds from Global Giving, gift cards, or any other thing that we can link, any other donation that we can link specifically to our relationship, your relationship with Global Giving is on there. But you can also scroll down to see, or click through to see even more analytics for your organization. This section was designed to help you use data to improve your fundraising. And this is where you can see things like the number of page views that your projects have had. That's the number of people visiting your project page, the number of donations you've received, the amount of time people are spending on your page. You can also see what day of the year your project has the highest traffic days. Using this can help you determine if something you did is correlating with more donations. And you can dig a little deeper for those of you who do really like data to see sort of when you've done activities, how has that corresponded with donations or activities on your page. Yeah, was there a question?
So we actually did get a question about the GG Rewards points just immediately after. So she's asking, just for clarification, how do we know what our rolling year Global Giving Rewards point period is? Is it based on the calendar year or when they were accepted?
Great question. So each specific point is rolling year. It's not as a whole. So if you watch a webinar today, which is October 9th or October 8th, did it say the 8th?
Today is the 8th.
Great. So if you watch a webinar today, this webinar, October 8th, 2018, it will expire next year, October 7th, 2019. If you watch another webinar, November 2nd, 2018, those points will expire November 1st, 2019. So every point system that you have, you're earning throughout the year, and it expires 365 days later. At the first day of every month, you will receive an email that says how many points you'll have expiring that month. and whether or not that will affect your status. So we'll always keep you updated about the points that you have expiring in a coming month. So you shouldn't hopefully ever be surprised if you drop a level or if your some points are expiring throughout the year.
Yep.
Great. Hope that answered your question. So moving on to just some quick top tips for effectively using GlobalGiving. First, include GlobalGiving in your overall online fundraising strategy. So you should, don't rely 100% on GlobalGiving for everything and just sit back and do nothing, but really think about how you're going to use GlobalGiving at what times of the year and for what purposes with what donors. Set SMART goals. I know you all learned a lot about what SMART goals are. Some of you already probably knew. Some of you learned a lot about them during the accelerator. But this is really making sure you're setting specific, measurable, achievable goals during the year about what you want to get from GlobalGiving. Plan a calendar. In December, January, every year we put out our calendar for the next year of all of our campaigns. So soon you'll know all of the campaigns that are planned for 2019, and you can choose which ones you want to participate in. You might not want to participate in all of them. You might want to participate in half. You might select the 2 or 3 that you think your organization will get the most benefit from. But being intentional about what you want to participate in will help you achieve more success at GlobalGiving. I do encourage you to take advantage of the special events and opportunities. So you all just achieved a great feat, which is finishing the accelerator, and there'll be more opportunities to do things like that through matching days and other opportunities to get donors excited about what you're doing. So really take advantage of those. Use our tools to help you achieve your goals. We built those tools because our partners have asked us for those tools, so we really want to make sure you're getting the most from it. And if there's something that you want or you think would be useful that we haven't already built, let us know so that we can try to build what is most useful for you all to use. Involve your supporters. Again, you, I'm sure, learned this during the accelerator, but everything should not just be solely on your shoulders. You should involve others and help them help you achieve your fundraising goals. And then finally, aim for superstardom. Superstars have the most visibility to our corporate and individual donor community, so that's a great way to attract more donors as well. Attracting new donors. On the GlobalGiving site, ensure that your project page has a specific action-oriented title. A lot of people only look at the title before they decide to donate. They want to know by looking at the title, what does this project do? Where is it? What is it trying to achieve? So make sure that that is titled. Don't use jargon. Be very clear. Include close-up, high-res photos. A donor might not be making their donation decision based on the photo, but that's what attracts their eye to get them to look deeper into what your project is doing. Include tangible, realistic donation options. Those donation options are really to give people an idea of how would their money potentially be spent if they contributed. What do things cost in the community that you work in? Earn your way toward an improved project rank. Again, that project rank is based on your superstar status or your GG reward status, so working to improve that helps sort of everything along the way. Participating in campaigns. Again, we know that donors make action based on exciting events, and so we've created events for you to participate in throughout the year to really get donors excited about participating. We have found that donors spend an average of 4.2 seconds reviewing a page on GlobalGiving before deciding whether or not to donate. That means it's even more important to make sure your title is super clear, to make sure that your photo is high res and that it draws people in, and to make sure that your summary and donation options are really clear. The last thing I'll just say about donors before I pause for questions is about retaining donors. We've built donor tools into our regular interactions because retaining donors it's much cheaper to retain a donor than to get a new donor every time. Two things that I want to emphasize as you think about how you can engage existing donors through Global Giving is one, tools, and second, campaigns. So our tools are available year-round, and these tools are features you can use to engage donors. So those are things like recurring donations, gift cards, fundraiser pages, donations made as a gift to or in honor of someone. Second is campaigns. So again, I've talked a lot about the campaigns in the last few slides, but making sure that you're using those opportunities to reach out to your donors and to get them excited about your work. Thank you notes is another feature we have. Many of you effectively use those during the Accelerator campaign, but that's a way to keep donors engaged with your project. The number one reason that donors don't give a second time is because they didn't feel they were effectively thanked the first time when they made their donation. So that's just a great donor hygiene, is to make sure to send those thank you notes. And then finally, project reports. Again, those are an easy way to communicate with all your donors on a pretty regular basis. That should be a low lift for you. Those project reports, again, they're emailed to all of your donors to a project, so they'll be getting updates directly from you. Any questions about attracting or retaining donors on Global Giving?
So it's not about attracting or retaining donors, but it is a general how Global Giving works question.
Okay.
So Paul is asking, do I have to have an active project to receive donations? Can someone simply give to my organization via Global Giving without it actually being linked to a project?
That is a great question, and the answer is no, you do have to have an active project on Global Giving. So one of the main reasons that organizations will cycle off of Global Giving is because they simply don't have a project for anyone to give to. You are welcome to create a general project on our site that's just more generally supporting your organization. So you may want to just, like I said, have a general sort of unrestricted support our general mission project on our site that you leave up all the time, but then creating smaller projects, either specific micro projects or other projects throughout the year that you fundraise for. But great question. You do have to have an active project in order to receive donations on Global Giving. We don't have organizational fundraising through our site. It is project-based.
And then there seems to be a little bit of confusion about disbursements. Linda is saying, I'm wondering if spending $250 is worthwhile internationally. Could we request that funds be sent out only if $1,000 has accumulated?
So that's, for a question that's specific, I would recommend reaching out to our disbursements team. So disbursements@globalgiving.org. And they can help you answer that. One thing I will say is that you can, there are two options if you are outside the U.S. For receiving funds. That is a wire transfer or something called F-Execute. F-Execute we are able to send without wire fees on our side and with a lower currency conversion. So that should save organizations funds when we send those, but there's still usually on the receiving end bank fees that we can't predict or pay for ourselves. So it is usually cheaper for us if you have selected the F-Execute option. It is usually cheaper for us to send, but you may still have bank fees on your end, again, that we can't predict. Any other questions?
No, we're good for now.
Great. So we'll move on to everyone's favorite topic, benefiting from corporate partnerships. So Global Giving, this is, again, a key area. I'll move back to that slide. This is a key area that our partners are always interested in learning more about. Global Giving has a team of 6 people focused exclusively on getting new corporate partners and managing those partnerships. We bring in new corporate partners through a number of methods, including speaking at conferences, direct outreach, word of mouth between companies. We work with more than 250 different companies to drive donations to global giving projects like yours. So last year, $26 million was donated by corporate partners to nonprofits through Global Giving. More than $2 million was generated through the corporate partnership gift card program so far in 2018, and more than $2,000 average corporate generated windfall, so money going to our partners. This number is a little out of date. It's actually higher now. But money coming through companies is real and is one of the main benefits that Global Giving partners get by being on Global Giving. Companies will work with us either because they want to give globally, they want to do a cause marketing campaign, they want to have options for their employees to give, and they want to give around the world to organizations that they know have been vetted. So that's often why Global Giving comes into place. So we run a number of programs with companies. One thing I will say is that we will never pitch a specific organization to a company. So we'll never say, hey, Nike, we have a great project that works with youth sports. You should give to this project. That's just not how we work. Generally, a company will come to Global Giving. They'll say, this is the philanthropic issue that we want to solve, and we'll work with them to do that. So that might be any of these areas here. So gift cards, disaster relief, consumer campaigns, employee engagement, vetting and grant making, technology and content. So for instance, on the gift card side, often throughout the year, some companies, as they onboard new employees, they might give them a $100 Global Giving gift card to show their commitment early on to corporate engagement with nonprofits that they use throughout the year, and those new employees can then donate to any project on Global Giving. Similarly, they might do a consumer-facing campaign where they say, we want to, $1 from every product sold, we want to donate to education in South America. Can you help us identify some partners for that? Again, a lot of our companies are interested, our corporate partners are interested in donating to disaster relief and recovery to organizations based in the community where those hurricanes or earthquakes or floods are happening. You can see some of our corporate partners here. Like I said, we've worked with more than 250 of them, so they don't all fit on the slide, but I'm sure that you see some familiar names here. Tips for corporate recommendations. So one thing I will say, like I said, we can't guarantee that you'll receive a certain amount or you'll get certain attention from companies because we don't know what companies will want to give to. But there are some things that you can do to make your project more attractive to companies and employees that do want to give. The first is, again, you might be sensing a theme: attain and maintain GG Reward Superstar status. So again, companies usually ask us, when they ask us for recommendations, if we have a lot of organizations or projects in a certain theme or location, we'll send them over the superstars to look at to make their decision of who to give to. Again, I can't emphasize enough clear, specific project titles. Again, often a lot of companies or employees only look at the title before they decide to give, and so making sure that it's super clear about what you're doing and where you're doing it in the title is really important. Confirming your project's most accurate theme or themes is selected, so making sure that if you have an education project, it is tagged as education. That's something we don't do. It's what you do when you enter your project. Often a company or an employee will just look on the Global Giving website themselves and make the decision, so you want to make sure your project is correctly tagged. Create a reporting track record. So this is really important. A lot of the companies say we want to give to an organization that works with the youth technology in Brazil, but we want to make sure they're actually going to submit their reports to us. So they will only want to give to projects that has a good track record of submitting their reports on time, that haven't had to, have us beg to report on time or to only submit at the last minute. So making sure you have those reports up to date is a great tip for companies that want to give to you as well. And this is just in general for getting corporate donations. Developing a social media presence is good for getting your brand awareness out there. Any questions about corporate recommendations?
So it's not about corporate recommendations, but it is about site visits, which is an important topic. So Manus is asking, how can we ask for a site visit? How can we ask for a site visit from a GlobalGiving staff member?
Great question. So we do site visits throughout the year in different countries. We have both staff and long-term volunteers that do site visits. These feed into a lot of, it actually is related to corporate partners, because us getting to know you better through a site visit helps us to advocate on your behalf to a company. Right now, there's not really a program to request a site visit. Generally, we go to a region every other year. We try to go to each region. And when we go to a country, we try to cover all of the organizations that are in that country, because we know we won't be back for 2 years. If you're super chomping at the bit to have a site visit, it can't hurt just to email us at projecthelp@globalgiving.org and let us know you're really keen to have someone visit you, and we can let you know if we have someone in the region coming up. But those generally happen, these visits generally between like March and August is the general range, but they can happen all year round. So like I said, we try to hit each region every other year. So if you haven't gotten this, well, none of you have probably had a site visit yet because you just joined, but if you don't have one this year, we'll try to get you in the next year.
Perfect.
Any other burning questions?
No, we're good for now.
Great. Additional resources. So I have just gone through very quickly a lot of information. If you have questions or you don't remember something, right here, again, on your dashboard, you're sensing a theme. The dashboard is the place for you to get everything you need. Is our nonprofit partner handbook. You can click on there to get information. If you forgot how to post a project or post a report, there'll be some information there about that. You can also click here. Again, you can read the commitment, the GG commitment. You can visit our Learn library, or you can see our blog there. Customer service. I'm sure a lot of you have already interacted with our amazing team here. Miranda, Kelly, Natasha, who's with us, Naeem, Belen. You probably have likely talked to at least one of them, if not more than one. Our team is here to help answer your questions by phone, email, live chat. We also have a help center. You may be able to answer your question yourselves just by looking online. We've worked hard to get people the answers they need there if you don't have a chance to call in. We also have our insider blog. That is here. This is a blog that is just for our nonprofit community. This is where you can see things like, there we go, specific tips for your success on global giving, terms and conditions on upcoming campaigns, sharing best practices and information about fundraising and how to become a more effective organization. That's all here. The easiest thing to do is just to subscribe via email. You can see on the bottom right of the screen, type in your email, hit subscribe. Anytime a post goes up, it will be emailed to you. We don't post here a lot, so it's not going to be a lot of emails for you, but it's always really important stuff, especially around things like terms and conditions for upcoming campaigns. So I would really recommend you subscribe via email so you can make sure you don't miss anything. Again, lastly, if you haven't already done so, you guys did such an amazing job in your Facebook group during the accelerator. You're now a permanent member of our community. I encourage you to join our main project leader Facebook group. This is where you can ask questions and get answers from Global Giving staff. You can also hear from other organizations that are fundraising on Global Giving. You can get advice on how to improve your fundraising. It's a great opportunity to connect with other nonprofits and a great resource for you. So please, I encourage you to join that to join our larger community. And questions?
We actually don't. We already answered all of them. Perfect.
Oh my goodness. Quiet group. All right, then I'm going to quickly go through campaigns and training opportunities as our last section. All right, on the horizon, I've talked a lot about campaigns. We're really excited. Our team works really hard to make these as useful for you as possible. So we have a peer learning network call on October 17th. That's coming up. That's a way for you to learn about different topics. Giving Tuesday. I think all of you have probably heard of Giving Tuesday. It's one of the biggest donation days in the U.S., but also in the world. That's coming up November 27th. We'll be doing a campaign there where we'll be matching all donations that come through the Global Giving site. I really encourage you that if you're only going to participate in one campaign a year, that's the one to do it. We also have our year-end campaign that runs immediately after Giving Tuesday ends. So Giving Tuesday is Tuesday, November 27th. Our year-end campaign runs November 28th through the end of the year, December 31st. For those of you outside the U.S., this is the biggest fundraising season of the year. This is where many organizations get up to a third or more of their annual revenue comes in at this point in the year. So our year-end campaign is just an extra way to help incentivize you to reach out to donors during that really busy giving season. Training, I mentioned the Peer Learning Network. Every month we do a call with our nonprofit partners on different topics. If there's a topic you really want to learn about, let us know. We can try to design something that gives you the information you need. Our Social Impact Academy and our online fundraising academies, those happen once a year. They're a more in-depth opportunity to dig deeper into social impact or online fundraising with a cohort of about 40 organizations. Again, that happens once a year. You'll get lots of information when it's coming up. And then finally, our Learn and Medium sites. It's a way to read more tips for nonprofits. All right, a couple reminders. Don't forget to complete the Post-Accelerator survey. We really, really do use that feedback to design better programs. So think about next Accelerators cohort and how we can make it better. Please subscribe to the Global Giving Insider blog. That will send you some useful information, a couple times a month when those come out. Check out the 2018 nonprofit calendar. I highlighted a few of the campaigns coming up, but in particular, Giving Tuesday and the year-end campaign are ones that you'll be part of. Join the Project Leader Facebook group and make use of your press release. You have just accomplished a huge thing, so take advantage of that. You can see, again, those quick links on the right side to some of the things we talked about. You can scroll down to find the calendar of events. It looks like that. It will show you all the campaign events that are coming up throughout the year. And scroll through for different months. And that is all I have. What other questions do you have that have come in?
So we do have one from Paul, and Paul is saying, on the dashboard, there is a volunteer category. Is this to request on-site volunteers, or is it someone who could help remotely online?
Great. The question was about volunteers, and I didn't mention that. Yeah, so we have a partnership with different organizations. Volunteer Match is one of them. It's the biggest volunteer site in the U.S., and that will allow you to post requests for volunteers. We just simply post those for you. We don't actually interact with the volunteers. So you're welcome to ask for a range of activities from very discrete remote tasks to in-person volunteers. And it will be sent out into the universe, and people will read it, and they'll contact you directly if they are interested in volunteering.
And then we have Nixon, who's saying, can you explain a little bit more on how to take advantage of the press release, and where's the press release done?
Great. So I would use your social media to really push it out. So there's a couple opportunities. One, if you have your own organizational newsletter, you might want to promote the success that you did and link to that press release. You might, if you have a Twitter account, promoting it on Twitter. Same with Facebook, or any other way that you keep in touch with your donors. And you'll see that on your dashboard when it comes out later this week.
So Paul is then asking, does the volunteer program work only internationally, or does the volunteer program work internationally or only in the USA?
It's for anyone. So the volunteer match is a site that's advertised in the US, but you can ask for volunteers anywhere in the world.
Not limited. And besides that, we have, where do I find the accelerator survey? So Gudrun, I will post that link in the chat box for you all in just a moment. And besides that, we are good. We don't have any other questions.
Great. Well, I'll stay on another 30 seconds or so, but I just want to thank you all for just your amazing work over the past 23 days. You guys did a great job, and we're so excited to have you as part of the Global Giving community. So thank you so much. You're welcome to sign off now, but we'll stay on a minute longer if more questions come in. Thank you.